Here we go, part two, man. I had to make some storage in my phone. So, the Medjai archers, man. The Medjai, right? Where you get your word magic from, right? The Medjai, you feel me? Medjai is the tongue, right? So, the original police of this planet Kai, were the so-called black people. You know what I'm saying? So-called black people, original aboriginal people, right? So we was going into Kem, you know, you got Kemet, you got Kemer, Kem colonies all around this bitch, all around the whole planet, right? When so-called black people ruled the whole planet, from the Pacific Islands to what is modern day Africa to the Americas. It was melanated rulers and pharaohs and chiefs that ruled this whole entire realm, and still do. You know what I'm saying? We're just in a matrix at the moment. My tricks, you dig what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, you know, you got the Navy that dam up the oceans, and you know, Navy comes from the word Navi, navigator, the navel, right? Peru is actually the navel of the earth, and that's where you get your word navigator. You see what I'm saying? So melanated beings are the immune cells of the earth, right? The melanated avatar archetype, the original beings of the earth, are the true guardians of the galaxy and protectors of nature, of nectar. And in ancient Kemet, you had something called the Medjai. They were the Medjai archers. And this was your ancient police system, right? They weren't called police, but this was your protectors, you know what I'm saying? These were the this was your army, you know what I'm saying? And they was very deep, you know what I'm saying? Like, super deep. And I mean, you got to realize that nothing new is under the sun, no idea is original. So, you know, you might see gangs or any organization, right, of original peoples coming together, you know what I'm saying? Like, melanated people are not the minority on this planet. That's just what the lies that we're taught. There's actually more brown, more black people. That's the majority, you know? There's more melanin on this earth. And technically, you know, even YT people, less melanated people, still hold melanin, right? And there's different types of melanin. There's something called neuromelanin. There's more melanin on this planet than on the contrary, right? So black people, I say, I'm gonna just start saying Kem people, because Kem means black, and that's a better code and light code to say, rather than always saying black. But Kem people make up the majority, you know what I'm saying? It's just through colonization and technology and religion and white supremacy and the matrix and divide and conquer, you know. Melanated people are unorganized in a lot of ways, and separated and warring and fighting each other, you know what I'm saying? But you have that with every groups of people, you know. Within every group of people you have war and disagreements and all of this. So But for the most part, right, when we talking about ancient Kim, or we talking about the ancient world, right? The Mayans call it Ojur Tziz, which means the ancient world or the prior world. When we talking about the ancient world, these ancient civilizations, you had got more unity. People was moving as one, you know, they was moving as one. And the thing is, right, see, everything been flipped, but the thing is, right, flip mode, because flip mode is the squad that controls the set. Woo, I got you all in check. Nah, but look, man, so like I said, man, melanated beings are the immune cells of the earth. And when we're going into the Medjai, right, this was your police force. This was your armies of ancient Kim. And they was stepping real deep, you know what I'm saying? Stepping on necks, you feel me? Like, there wasn't, you know, like, when we bring up certain people like Queen Amanarinas, or we can bring up, I mean, the list goes on. It's so much, you know. People don't even understand how long melanated the gods and goddesses were in rule, you know. It was like, bro, it's just, you can't even fathom it in these times because of how indoctrinated people are, you know. People really thinking like, people really don't know shit. People don't know how to use their minds because we so indoctrinated by the lower self and the fall of frequency, the frequency war, you know. But with that being said, man, I'm still by the water, still grounding my feet, you feel me? Tapping into source. So with that being said, when we bring up people like Queen Amanarinas, she was stepping on shit. She was stepping on necks, bro. She was whooping the Romans. She was whooping shit, bro. And we talk about people like King Taharka. You know, his father was King Pepi, I think. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But and he was from Tasseti. Yeah, because he was a Nubian. No, he was a Cushite, I'm pretty sure. You know? And we talk about a Petamok. A Petamok was the lion serpent deity. So it's a lot to it, you know. The rabbit hole goes deep. I'm not gonna get too into it because it's still so much to learn and study about, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to act like I know it all because I don't. But I will say that from what I do know, melanated people, I'm gonna keep saying this because it needs to be said, melanated people are the immune cells of the earth. Because if you look into nature, you're going to see brown, like you're going to see carbon, you're going to see silica, you're going to see that the trees are brown for a reason. The earth is brown for a reason, it's green for a reason. That's where you get green, the depiction of pharaohs with green on them and stuff. That's because they had a green aura, a green auric field. And the pharaohs were the Nasut Biti, right? And that's deep, you know. And it goes, and you got to realize these are chem colonies, because you go all the way out to Utah and you have beehive pyramids. You go all the way to Asia, you see the same beehive mounds. And that's really deep if you think about that shit. Because you had the Sino-Tibetan, which were that's like Sinai, right? the Sino-Tibetan were the Tangu, which were the Shi, which were the Olmecs. So it goes all around the globe. Just to put it simply, man, everybody knows this, but a lot don't, because 85% of people are dumb, deaf, and blind. But when black people ruled the planet, when the pharaohs and gods and chiefs ruled the planet, and chiefesses, because it was a matriarch, it was the whole planet, man. You know what I'm saying? The great mother of heaven, she ruled the whole entire planet. You feel me? It was different colonies, but it was under one order, you know? You had like the Typhonian, Draconian, Obsidian times, right? So, you know, and people don't understand how deep the Mississippians are. People don't understand how deep the Natchez or the Nakashic, I coined that term, Nakashic, which were the serpent people, right? Serpent mound, serpentine. So it gets deep. But when we're going on the flip side of things, the chem things, when you talking about the Medjai, man, and the mystery schools, it was a time, and it's still that time. You just gotta remember the times. It's still that time. The Magi archers, man, in ancient Kem and Tai-Necha and Tai-Seti, they were the archers. And go get the book Black Like Osiris. You feel me? Because, let me wrap this up because my storage might go out. It was called the Land of Shooters. That's what it was called in ancient Kemet. You know, King Tut, and he was warring with the 9 bows. You know what I'm saying? This shit really deep. Like, I like getting into the Egyptian Kemetic sciences and the Kemetic mysteries, because it's actually really deep, and it's all connected. You know what I'm saying? All of this it's all connected and tied into each other. You just got to understand how it ties into each other. You see what I'm saying? But Neb-Keperu, he was warring with the 9 bows, you see? And I believe it was Tai-Seti that was the Land of Shooters. And that's where, you know, they moved down. On the map, Egypt is on top, but it's really down because everything's flipped. So they really moved down the Nile to Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the Memphites, you got the Thebans, and it's deep because the Egyptians or the Kemites, they came from Atlantis. You know what I'm saying? So they come from the other side of the map. And it's dope, you know what I'm saying? King Tut, he got a dagger made from a meteoric rock from outer space, you know what I'm saying? So this shit get galactic. But King Tut, he was beefing with the 9 bows. If you look at his sandals, that's who is depicted on his feet, is the 9 bows, you know what I'm saying? So he was warring with them. At the same time, a lot of stuff ain't just how you see it, like first eye view on the surface, because it's deeper than that. Because a lot of things are symbolic. You know what I'm saying? You might see somebody killing somebody or doing this or that, and there's a lot of that, of course, but a lot of it is actually symbolic. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it, because the ancestors spoke in symbolism. They spoke in parables, you know. They spoke in codes, you know what I'm saying? They didn't just, it's just not for the average man to read it on the wall and completely understand what's going on. You know, a lot of it was very just symbolic. But was they scalping shit? Yes. Was they killing shit? Yes. It was a lot of wars. It was a lot of beef. It was a lot of backstabbing. All types of shit was going on. You know what I'm saying? You see that today between brothers and communities and everything. But as far as the Medjai, bro, in the golden age and in the times where of my aunt and there was real harmony, the people, man, of this earth, man, were really in harmony with nature and really doing great beautiful things, great beautiful works. And that's because they weren't living against the planet. And these power plants and these pyramids and healing temples and ancient sites were just that. They were healing centers, and it was free energy, right? So things are a lot different when it's free energy. They say that slaves built the pyramids. They say all these things, man. You know, they're gonna go on to say all these things. Where they're disagreeables and where there tribes that were not in tune and was trying to fuck shit up, yes. You know, and them tribes was being put in check. You know what I'm saying? But you know, they wanna look, man, they wanna make you think that the people ruling back then in the Egyptian times were light-skinned. No, the rulers were dark-skinned. You know, Tut was black, was Kim. You know, our Saraset, Haru, all their deities was dark-skinned. Like, all the rulers were dark-skinned. I doubt there was really any light-skinned rulers, for real, for real. There might have been a couple, but, so, yeah. But, they want to make you think, like, Egypt was like light-skinned pharaohs, and Nubia was the black, dark-skinned, you know what I'm saying? And Egypt was stepping on Nubia and at war with Nubia. No, it was different. It was different people in rulership. So you had Nubians, Cushites, Hebrews, you know what I'm saying? You had different people in rulership, but you have different skin tones and depictions of, you know, you have dark-skinned Egyptians, you have red Nubians, you know what I'm saying? So you can see a lot of that truth in Smash Rockwell book, Black Like Osiris. But as far as it goes, man, so you see a lot of the same imagery and ideology and symbolism in ancient, in the Mesoamericas, you know what I'm saying? And it's good to do the etymology on Meso, because you know, you like got Mesopotamia and Mesoamerica, and so you know you had the Sumerians as well, you know, the Anunnaki. And all of this stuff is really deep, because it's not just it's not just like, oh, you see them in this landmass and that's how you take it so like, people take things so surface level and they don't go deep with it, because it's a lot deeper than that. And it's bro, there's pyramids underwater, there's, you know, there's pyramids, there's mounds and pyramids out in the middle of the ocean, like, so it's so much more deep than just oh, Africa is the origins of humanity, oh, America is the origin of humanity, because it's like, it's so much to unpackage with that, and the rabbit hole is deep. So it's not just, you know, people thinking linearly, you know. and you have, you know, you do have your aquatic beings and things like that. But when it comes to, when we really want to talk about ancient, right? When we really want to talk about ancient, man, we should really be talking about the Choctaw and the Natchez and the Mississippians, and you know what I'm saying? These are real ancient people, man. So some of your most ancient bloodlines, and you know, some of the most ancient blood on this planet is gonna be bloodlines that are still in the Americas, in the Amaru. But beyond that, it go beyond that because it go beyond this realm. It go beyond this earth. You got fucking pyramids and faces on the moon, on Mars. You see what I'm saying? So this shit gets real galactic. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta know yourself. But the basis of this video is what I'm touching on is the Medjai. And there was an ancient order in the mystery school, right? And really, you know, I don't even want to be on my phone making this video, but I just want to share these downloads because, like I said, melanated people are the immune cells of this earth and are the nature's police, the guardians of the galaxy. And the Medjai, we'll just stick to that, you know, because I don't want to go everywhere with it. The Medjai were the keepers of order and ma'at, right? And ma'a means to examine, right? So the Medjai were the police system, the ancient police system of the earth, and were the, you know, protecting. And see, back then you couldn't just be doing whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just like now, like you go around doing some crazy shit, like your ass gonna get locked up, you're gonna get thrown in prison, with it, blase. But back then it was the same thing, because you couldn't just be going around doing anything, because it's an order to life, man. There's karma, there's ma'at, it's balance. Nature stays in balance, you know what I'm saying? And if you are not with that balance, your ass gets knocked out of existence. And that's what was happening, because that's what was happening. So the Medjai archers, they were keeping things in order, you know. They was making sure things was running well. And they were also the armies. And they was deep, bro. They was deep. It was a whole lot of gang shit, you feel me? It was a whole lot of YNs, young soldiers and warriors that was stepping on shit. And I mean really stepping on shit. Like probably more than we could fathom. Their army was probably so deep that, like, and I'm talking about deeper than the government we see now, man. See, it's black people that make up the majority. So so-called black people, right, melanated. Black people, the original people, make up the majority of things. They run this system. We run this system. We make up the jobs. And, you know, I don't know the statistics, you know, but there's a lot of black people in government. There's a lot of black people in the police. You know, there's a lot of black people in the Navy, in the Marines, in the Army. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, but back then, that energy wasn't going towards the archonic rulers. That energy was the army of God. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. That they was the army of God. So the army of nature. So and they were called the Medjai. Oh, I see some beings floating up. So yeah, so let me just tune in with nature real quick. I need to just. Uncle Johnson up. Yeah, so back to what I was saying, man. We're in these times, it's a patriarch, so we're all that's what toxic masculinity is. It's a patriarch, you know, is being destructive, killing, raping nature, taking all nature's resources, just being devils. And that's what the military and the army does. They are invaders. We go to other countries that don't have shit and take more shit, right? So this parasitic, cancerous energy on the earth kills, steals, and destroys. So that's the devil. The devil came to kill, steal, and destroy. You know? And gangs were created as a good thing. And I'm not gonna say they are bad, but I say that in modern times, that street life and that gang shit, bro, it ain't got nothing to do with. I ain't gonna say it got to do with liberation, but it's so toxic. It's so much toxicity. It's so much white supremacy within it that it's been, what's the word? It's been compromised. It's been hijacked. So, but as mamas are, look, okay, Tiamat, as we activating in it, and the consciousness is shifting and rising on the planet, and Mother Earth is going from a daughter Earth to a Mother Earth, right? Claiming back the matriarch, she will claim back all her sons, and you know, it's kind of like the Medjai are reactivating. So as that happens, you know, it's just like the movie The Avatar, you know, like nature, it all comes to nature, bro. It all comes to nature, because as nature is already activated. Nature is already in tune and already doing what it's supposed to do. The only thing that is not in tune on the planet is the people. The people are the only ones, the human beings are the only ones that are not in tune fully with the ancient order of life. We're very against life. We're very anti-life, actually. We're very parasitic. We're very cancerous. We're very demonic, satanic, whatever you want to call it. But boom. So as we're activating, you know, the truth, like as the times are shifting, we're getting back to the natural ancient order. So even out here in the Pacific Islands or the Caribbeans or whatever, you had different orders, right? Like, and out in Hawaii, they got the Kapu system, you know what I'm saying? And all these systems of the ancient ones, they were all systems of nature. And it's all pretty simple, you know? Nowadays we had the commandments, you know. Back then they had the laws of Ma'at. But we don't need religion. We don't need a book. We don't need, you know, it's fine to have a book. It's fine to have the Popol Vuh and the keepers of the mat. I find that interesting too. You got Ma'at in Egypt, Akim, and then in the Maya you have the mat, right? And that's the keepers of the book, of the sacred book, right? Akashic, the Akashic. So boom, and it's funny that they had Aaliyah playing a vampire. You know what I'm saying? This shit funny because it's like, oh shit. So shit is just so dark matters, bro. Shit is just so. It's a lot I still am understanding, you know what I'm saying? But okay, so yeah, so these ancient systems, man, that was on planet Kai, these were systems of nature, and it was all in harmony and in tune with itself, man. You know, we're so against ourself right now. You see what I'm saying? That's what the white man is a manifestation of the original man being out of tune with self, right? Yaqub was a black man that was just, his brain so big he had 2 brains. Yaqub was so against himself, so he had so much self-hatred that he created the devil, right, to rule. Now, but these ancient systems, they did not play no games. No, they did not play no games. But they were beautiful systems because life was magical back then. It still is, but life was very magical in them ancient times and it was a whole lot of supernatural shit going on too. A whole lot of supernatural things going on. And I tell you, like with the high priest, right? See, King Tut's high priest was a Mayan. But the high priests were very supernatural. Now, but it was a lot of supernatural things going on back then because, you know, just say like shape-shifting and like astral projection and different things, man. And we don't realize how mystical nature really is. Modern science is still understanding nature. You feel me? But yeah, so, but it's all coming back. Nature's taking back everything, and it's unstoppable because it's kind of like the whole idea of the devil is just so stupid because, one sec, babe, almost done. Because you can't kill God, you can't kill nature. That's the whole thing. So when it comes to that, they just want to enslave your energy. They just want to take your energy and keep you in a perpetual state of slavery through reincarnation. So, one sec, Toon. So when you realize that the energy cannot be created or destroyed, then we can realize that what we're supposed to be in tune with. So that's like trying to, all we can do is poison ourselves in the process and kill ourselves in the process of trying to kill the body of God. We can't destroy God. We cannot destroy the waters. You can't kill the ocean. You can't kill Ra. You can't kill the sun. You cannot destroy. We can't destroy anything we did not create. That's why there's no creator. So we can't destroy the ocean. We can't destroy the sun. We cannot destroy air. We cannot destroy fire. We cannot destroy any of the natural elements. Therefore, we cannot truly die, and we cannot truly destroy ourselves. We're just playing a torturous game. And with that being said, we cannot destroy the elements. And that being said, we cannot destroy nature. So all we can do is tamper and dilute it and create systems based upon that, but they don't last very long in the time span of life, because nature is immortal and nature has a mystical way of liberating itself, even through the white man. So nature will liberate itself through its experimentation with and game with itself. So I'm gonna end this video like that. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is actually probably one of my deepest videos. So with that being said, man, we forget how sacred it is. Life, death, the dua. We forget how sacred it is to pick up, like, you know, like ancient technology is actually primitive. When we talking about bows and arrows, right? We talk about Indian shit. We think that this modern technology is advanced. Yes, it is. But the Dogon and Ogotameli talked about projectile weapons and how they're not good, and technology. So and that's gonna be a hard thing for people to get to, because you see what I'm saying. We want to keep wearing our Jordans. We want to keep you know, having on our Glocks and shit. But the truth of the matter is this, man. It's very sacred to because guns are made from the earth, and there's a very sacred it's the art of war. So but it's sacred how the ancient ones were moving, you know what I'm saying, with bow and arrows and knives and things like that. There's this very sacredness to that, and I think that we need to activate that again, you know what I'm saying, because it's very sacred, you know. Atomic energy and the weapons of today, it's nothing sacred about it. It's very just loud, and yeah. So, but that's not the only weaponry. Food is a weapon. Art is a weapon. Anyways, I'm gonna end it at that. Hold up.